What if I told you that most people did white wedding in church and not legally recognized in Nigeria? Yes, she wore the gown, he wore the suit, they exchanged vows and ring, they signed papers, they even, posted fine pictures online, and people actually reached them well, congratulations, wow, God went. But legally, there may be no valid statutory marriage. Just imagine 10 years later, there is property dispute, there is inheritance battles, or even divorce proceeding, only for you to be informed by a lawyer that the marriage you had then is actually not known to Nigerian law. This is saddening, right? So in this video, I'll be telling us the conditions that must be fulfilled before your short marriage can actually be seen, as a statutory marriage in Nigeria. In Nigeria, marriage is governed by the Marriage Act and the Matrimonial Causes Act. So, under Nigerian law, there are three types of marriage. We have the customary marriage, we have Islamic marriage, and we have the statutory marriage, also known as the Marriage Act. So, here is the gist. There's nothing like legal church marriage. So before your church marriage can be legally recognized under Nigerian law, it must comply with the provisions of the Marriage Act. So if your church marriage does not comply with the provision of the Marriage Act, such marriage would only be treated merely as religious celebration and not a legally recognized statutory marriage. Under the Marriage Act, a church marriage becomes legally valid if the following conditions are met. The first one is that the church, must be a licensed place of worship. What do I mean by being a licensed place of worship? It must be licensed by under the Marriage Act. This is where most people get shocked. Most people get confused because they believe that, all churches in Nigeria are licensed. No, not all churches in Nigeria are licensed. So if the church is not a licensed place of worship, any marriage celebrated in that kind of church will not qualify. It may not qualify as a statutory marriage. And the legal implication of this is that if the church is licensed and it complies with the provisions of the Marriage Act, then any marriage that is celebrated in that kind of church will actually carry the same status as the marriage celebrated at the marriage registry. For instance, Ikoyi Federal Marriage Registry, and the only difference will only be in the location. So the second condition that must be fulfilled is that the marriage must actually be officiated by a recognized minister of that particular church, not that you go out to rent a pastor from an unlicensed place of worship to come and officiate your marriage in a licensed place of worship. If this is done, your marriage may not qualify as a statutory marriage. And the third one is that the marriage must be celebrated in open doors. It must not be celebrated in your pastor's office, and it must be celebrated between the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And also, there must be at least 2 witnesses that will be available at the church. And also, a marriage certificate would be issued. So there will be an issuance of a marriage certificate, and this marriage certificate will actually, is actually the same thing as the one issued at the marriage registry. And of course, the marriage must be between a man and a woman, and neither parties must be legally married at the time of the marriage celebration. So before you walk down the aisle or before posting officially Mrs. B, ensure, just confirm that the church is a licensed place of worship. And also, if this video is helpful to you in any way, please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and drop questions, if any, in the comment section. I remain Salwa. Thank you.